I think this is video 5, but this one's coming with a trigger warning. Excuse my little secrets. Yeah, anyway, this one's about the violence and domestic violence. So, yeah, I'll try keep it as PG, I guess. But, yeah, I grew up in a violent homes. You know, my portal would expose us to lots of domestic violence. She would scream out to us when she was getting beaten by whoever she brought back that evening. You know, my siblings were extremely violent. My portal was, you know, really heavy-handed herself. You know, she loved the wooden spoon, and the spoon was a fucking chunky, big ass soup fucking spoon, and yeah. Anyway, and throughout foster care, you know, and the many schools I went to, I can't even keep count of the amount of primary schools I went to. But every time I'd go into a new home and a new school, you know, you had to fight. You had to fucking fight for your place in that area. You know, and it's just how it went. And yeah, I was little. I was a little white girl, you know, and I found myself repeating the patterns, you know, with with domestic violence in my relationships. Pretty much 99% of my relationships I've been in have been extremely violent. Um, you know, I've been strangled, I've been beaten for a couple of days, I've been dragged around the floor by my hair, I've been attacked with a butter knife. I was pregnant when that one happened. I was about 7.5 months pregnant with the twins. My eldest daughter witnessed that one, and then he went to attack her. So I got in the way, you know. Mama bear came fucking out ruthless as, and yeah, got real bruised up after that one. I've had a machete held to my throat. I've had the same guy threatening to chop his own fucking foot off, you know, and his toes just to keep me there. I've had a ridiculous amount of like hot coffee cups thrown in my face, been spat in my face, shitloads. I can't even count how many times that's happened. Yeah, my nose is a bit fucked here from some of this shit. I've had my face slammed into the floor multiple times. And when I wouldn't bow, you know, they made you bow, if that makes sense. And then like really degrading acts would take place, like being pissed on and shit, and not to mention all the horrible shit that is said, you know, during those times. Like there was about 5.5 years where I couldn't even look in the mirror. I refused to look in the mirror, and every time I'd catch my reflection, I would just hear everything over and over again, you know, the horrible things that were said. I've spent majority of my life living in fear. You know, I've been stalked, like a lot of that life, you know, ever since I can remember, you know, from quite a young age, you know, being in my early teens. And like to the point where they'd be at the front of my house, and oh, you know, the cops are called and everything, and he's fighting with the cops saying that this is public property out here, you know, belongs to the council, it's the berm, you know, like really fucked up shit. And yeah, I've gotten in between an ex and my daughter and his son, because he lost his shit and went to turn around and start punching them. And this was in a car, and he's driving, and he pulled over and went to turn around to deck them one. So I managed to flick myself in the middle so that the children wouldn't get hit. And then I just remember seeing his son open the door, and then I heard my daughter open her door, and then I was just like, fuck, that's us, we're running. And we got out and we started running across the road into a reserve. Like, there were no trees or anything in there. And then he fucking tries to run us down in the car, like real fucked up shit. And I used to sleep with everything that was important to me, so that was like mine and my daughter's birth certificates, my bank card, my keys. That was all put, shoved into my socks, because he would, like, I had the house, but a lot of his belongings were in the house, and we weren't allowed to use those belongings, which were, like the couch, the table, the chairs, the bed in the spare room, all that kind of shit. And so me and my daughter would sleep in the same bed, and be ready just to run, just to fucking run. And I've been told that he would harm her and my animal at the time, my dog, which was Harry, and he'd always threatened to kill them. And yeah, sorry, just flashing back a bit there, but some fucked up shit has taken place, and it took many years to process and accept it. And now, like, back in my teens, a lot of that was drug and alcohol fueled. And I'm not making excuses for their behaviour, but drugs and alcohol were a huge contributor to their behaviour as well as mine. Like, in some instances, I did add fuel to the fire, and I realised that I was comfortable in the chaos, like that's all I knew. And when there wasn't chaos, I felt out of place. Like, yeah. I hope that makes sense. And that was a hard pill to swallow, was realising that about myself, that's what I was used to, that type of environment, And yeah. But anyway, that's a little bit more about me and shit. But I try to keep it, like, not extreme. So I hope it, stayed not extreme. Anyway, have a lovely rest of your day and keep on keeping on.